Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the server-side service discovery pattern. In the previous video, we discussed about the client-side service discovery pattern. So we understand how it is working. In this video, we are going to cover the server-side discovery pattern. Okay. So once you go with the server-side discovery pattern, let's assume you have the two services, service, and this is going to be one more service. This is the service A. Okay, so this is going to be service B. So now we have the two services. Now, as per the service discovery pattern, so if service A want to interact with the service B, so first you need to get the information of the service B. How it is going to get the service information of the service B? It is going to interact the service registry, right? We are going to have the service registry. This is going to be our so this is a service registry. That means this. So now if service A want to interact with the service B, so usually in client side service discovery pattern, so service A is going to interact with the it is going to interact with the service registry to get the information of the service B, and it is going to call the service B. Okay, but now we are discussing the server side service discovery pattern. Like we have the two types of the discovery patterns. One is the client side service discovery pattern that we discussed in the previous video. In this video, we are going to discuss about the server side discovery pattern. Okay. Now, so if service A want to into service B, usually in client side, the client is going to take the responsibility of getting the information of the remaining service. Okay, service B will interact the service register and get the all the information of the service B, and it will make the call to service B. But in case of the server side pattern, so the client won't get the information of the service B. Instead of getting the information of the service B, what service A will do? Service A will transfer this request to the gateway. Like this is we are going to have the API gateway here. This is the API gateway. So now if service A want to interact with the service B, or service B want to interact with the service A, so these are the client applications, right? These are the client. This is the client. This is also client. Okay, then so now service A want to interact with the service B, but in previous pattern, what is the client side? The service A directly call to the service registry and get the information of the service B, and it will make the request. But in this case, the client applications won't worry about the other services information. It won't get, that means the service A won't think about the other services information. So what service A simply do, so whenever service A want to interact with the service B, service A simply forward this request to the gateway. Okay, it will simply forward request to the gateway. Yes, it forward the request to the gateway. Service A want to interact the service B. Okay, it will forward the request to the gateway. Then gateway will get all the information of the other services from the service registry. Okay, now so I service A want to talk to the service B, then service A forward the request to the gateway will get that service B information from the service registry. Once it is got the information from the service registry, it will send the request to the service B. Okay, like this server side service discovery pattern will work. That means if even if the service B want to interact with the service A also, service B directly won't talk about the service registry. What service B will do? Service B will forward the request to the API gateway. API gateway will get the information from the service registry. Okay, based on the registry, it will forward the request to the respective instance. Okay, so what is the difference between this client side and server side service discovery pattern? In client side service discovery pattern, all the responsibility will be taken care by the client application. Like now we have the two clients. Client service A is one of client, service B is one more client. So both client need to take care of the load balancing concept, and at the same time the both need to get the information from the service registry. But in server side service registry pattern, client won't worry about the load balancing. At the same time, getting interacting with the service registry is also not required. Simply, so they are going to directly forward this request to the API gateway. API gateway will interact with the service registry to get the services information. Once it is got the information, it will forward the request to the service B. Now let's say now service B, I have the employee information API. In service A, I want to get that employee information. Then I will simply forward this request to the API gateway. This is a fixed URL. Now I'm going to have the HTTP gateway, then after my service name. Like that, I'm going to have the URL. Then I will forward the request to the API gateway. API gateway will get the service B information. Then after it will forward the request to service B. Service B will give the response to the API gateway. API gateway will send the response back to the service A. Like this, the server side discovery pattern will works. Okay. Then now we understand the server side discovery pattern also. But which one is better to use in real time? So it is going to be based on your preference. Like if you want to more control on the load balancing in each and every client application, we are going with the client side. Or you want to you want to do load balancing only one component, then you will go with the server side service discovery pattern. So it is going to decide by the based on our application. In the later videos, we will discuss practically, so which one is suitable to which application and which one is suitable to in which application. Like I prepared the note for this one also, you can see. Like let me read this one. So in server side discovery, the client does not need to know the where the inventory service is running. Like let's say an example. In this example, I assume we have the two service, order service and inventory service. Like order service want to interact with the inventory service. In this case, order service doesn't need to know about the inventory service. Why? Because it is order service is going to send the request to the fixed endpoint. The fixed endpoint is nothing but API gateway. API gateway, usually we can use the Joule, or we have the Spring provided one API gateway, that one also we can use it. Okay, and API gateway handle the finding the routing and request correct inventory service instance. Like this, the API gateway will find the respective instance and it will forward the request to the respective inventory service. So then step one, service registry. So when you have the two services, right, inventory service and service registry, whenever these two services are started running, it is going to register with the service registry, that we know. Then order service send a request to the fixed address. Fixed address means, as we discussed, right? So if any service want to interact with the other services, the services directly won't interact each other. They will simply forward this request to the fixed endpoint. What is that fixed endpoint? So the API gateway. So API gateway, they will forward the request to like this. This API gateway is nothing but domain or the respective IP. So based on our configuration, we are going to use it. This is the service name. That means this up to this is the fixed one. Then after we are going to use the service name and products. So the request is forward to the API gateway. Okay. Now what API gateway will do? The API gateway is responsible for finding the inventory service. That means API gateway, this is the API gateway. API gateway is going to call the service registry to get the information of the respective inventory service. Okay. It checks the service registry to find the where inventory service is running. So this is right. We just now discussed. Then routing to the rest. Then once it identify the information of the inventory service, what it will do? It will route the respective request to the inventory service. Then inventory service will process the request and it will send the response back to the API gateway. Then once the API gateway forward receive the response, what it will do? It will send response back to the order service. Like this is the pattern. So once we cover that one, so we are good to go with the practical sessions. I hope you like this video. If anybody requests this notes, you can join the WhatsApp channel. There I will post these notes. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.